Hello everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel. Before I go any further, as I said in the beginning of every video, please subscribe down below. The cool thing about OCD Recovery's YouTube channel is there's lots of free resources breaking down how to go about disputing the core fear, when to move with uncertainty, the difference between acceptance versus agreement, which is something we cover a lot because a lot of people are walking around agreeing with their thoughts, which is usually a compulsive behavior. You don't have to like having OCD, but you more than likely will need to move towards unconditional self-life and other acceptance to get underneath those core fears, which does take some time and basically almost like an art of just many practice up and down and stuff like that. So today I want to talk about, and it's not going to be the longest video today, but it's basically an extremely important video. And we're going to talk about avoidance and distractions, so short-term distractions, long-term distractions, and how they go about. So let's start with my story. In 2019, OCD turned on full blast for me. So 26 months ago. I didn't know anything about OCD. I thought it was just, washing hands and stuff like that, the typical stuff. So real quick, so when people, it can be easy to get frustrated with people that don't understand OCD, but before chronic OCD, none of us knew what OCD was more than likely anyway. So it's kind of a dead end. So we can't hold them to some high standard for not understanding what we go through. So basically what I was doing and what I was getting a lot of advice from different therapists in my particular scenario, different people I was following on Instagram. I knew I had OCD. I was like, okay, something is going on. I'm having all these repetitive sensations. I can't unlatch, blah, blah, blah. Went into Dr. Google. Google was never really a problem for me. I'd never been a compulsive Googler or searcher in that realm, like Kirsty was and other people as well. I think Jade covered that. So I was chronically latched with my blinking. That was the first one. I suffered with bilateral tinnitus, aka ringing in the ears for 2 to 3 months, but my blinking was the main thing. And what do I read? Reading lots of stuff about distractions, forcefully distract yourself, forcefully avoid your discomfort. Now, humans, as I talked about yesterday with Rob on the Instagram Live, have a gigantic propensity to avoiding discomfort. Well, I got news for you. Avoiding discomfort, OCD or not, does not get you to where you want to go. It's all an illusion. Short-term avoidances have its benefits for certain scenarios. So I always like to use an alcoholic. An alcoholic will want to avoid alcohol. But there will come a time again where he'll be the place where there's going to be alcohol being served. Whether it's a wedding, some sort of an event, going to a bar, going to the sports game. It's not about avoiding the alcohol itself because they have an addiction problem, but they're going to be around places where there's alcohol. And that is a part of it. So you can avoid trying to feel discomfort for a long time, but more than likely you're going to be in a situation that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Going towards discomfort is an entirely misunderstood portion. We like to feel safe, as I said, but those short-term forceful distractions turn into long-term avoidance behaviors, and they don't actually get us to where we want to go. So what was I doing in the beginning of my somatic OCD recovery journey? So I basically was playing video games for 100 hours a week. So I had a lot of avoidance behaviors in that regard. I was vaping. I did lots of stuff to get my mind off of the sensations in my mouth once it switched to saliva and swallowing, which stuck around for about 18 months. So I would, do stuff like chew on the pen caps. I'd always be doing something like that to get my mind off it. I would always be having to do something to distract myself. And then once I took away my major compulsive avoidance behavior, which was video games, I just was like, boom, you kicked me off a cliff. I felt fucking terrible all the time, 24/7, horrid for a very long time. And I didn't realize just how much my avoidance behaviors were getting into place. Now, short-term distraction in a healthy manner can have its benefits. What do I mean by that? I mean that building a healthy life structure, getting up and going to bed around, not have to be exactly on the same time because there's a lot of irrational beliefs around sleep. But, having a good structure, not drinking too much caffeine, cutting back on your phone usage if you're on your phone compulsively, scrolling all day long. Basically, getting out there, getting back to work, engaging with society in a way that's beneficial to building healthy structures with intimacy, friendships that aren't based on superficial things. It's, as I always tell people, recovering from OCD is a long-term life change. It's not just this short-term if you get rid of yourself with feeling uncomfortable and going about your day and getting better, because that's not how OCD works. And that's a lot of ways how people make OCD to seem like it works, but it doesn't. We all know that. When you're suffering at the chronic level, it's very easy to get stuck in that, like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get away from how I'm feeling. And this can be anything. You can turn anything into a distraction. You can use disputing irrational beliefs, REBT, CBT, ACT, acceptance, commitment therapy, all these other forms of psychotherapeutic approaches that people use, whether they're being advised from a counselor, a coach, whoever is helping you with OCD, it can be used as a distraction in a way where it's not being used properly. So acceptance is not something that you do. It is something that you feel. It is an internal surrender, what we always talk about. So there is a clear difference between short-term distractions and long-term distractions. A lot of people are still telling people to go out there and distract themselves in the hopes that it will make the way they feel go away. So let's break that down a little bit. Let's break down some of the unhealthy distraction behaviors that don't get you to where you want to go. So let's say, sitting in front of Netflix all day long, 15 hours a day. Let's say staying in bed all day long or being on your phone all day long. There's nothing inherently wrong with being on your phone or being on Instagram, because we know we live in a society where people are very black and white about things. Coffee is inherently bad for you. Social media is inherently bad for you. All phone products are addicting. And while there is addictive properties to these phones, it all comes down to balance. Balance is the key to everything in life. Working towards balance and realizing that you're going to have many situations in your life where you're uncomfortable, that is the key to going forward. And it takes time to get to that. It's not an easy task to go through. So for the newer stuff I've been working on, which I still have compulsive behaviors that I've been still catching on to, I handle it a lot better because the tools I have adopted since my sensory motor journey. But I realized that there was still a lot of things I was avoiding because I didn't like the way I felt in clothes. It all came down to like sensation-based and look-based conditional acceptance. Excuse me. And it didn't get me anywhere. It kept me exactly where I am, stuck, it's a tough thing to do because, you want to move forward in recovery, but there's a lot of advice out there telling you to distract yourself with good intentions. I understand why they're telling you that, but the reality is it's not going to get you where you want to go. And that is a problem for us. So basically, to sum up this video, and like I said, I knew it wasn't going to be a really long video because there's, the reality is building healthy distractions comes from building good lifestyle habits, okay? So like we said, not too much caffeine and not just avoiding caffeine because you're afraid you're going to be anxious. Not being on your phone so much, not playing video games so much, computer video games or phone video games, hanging out with your friends, going back out in public, going for walks, exercising in a balanced manner, doing cardio, strength training, getting out there, hanging out with your family or your loved ones and your friends and stuff like that. Not forcefully trying to get the feeling to go away. And that is something too, because all these things I just talked about, these healthfully distractions, you could easily use them to avoid the way you're feeling. You have to be honest with yourself. Are you comfortable feeling the way you feel right now? And the answer is probably no. That's okay. I was there as well. It took me 18 months to get to where I am now, to where I still have a lot of lingering background physical anxiety. But it's kind of like I'm walking and it's behind me. It's just kind of trailing behind me. So it's not this major disruptor of my life anymore, but it took me a while to get to that. So avoidance behaviors with the purpose of, avoiding discomfort is not going to get you where you want to go. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. As I always tell everyone, comment down below. Always comment down below. I check every single day, Monday through Friday. I don't moderate on the weekends anymore because I go a little too overboard. I mean, look at my personality. I'm a total A-type guy. So I have to bring back the reins a little bit myself. But I do check 15, 20 minutes a day, all the YouTube comments. So if you have any comments, you want to see stuff be covered, please ask away. I will be more than willing to cover them. If I don't feel comfortable in covering a topic, which there really isn't a whole lot, but say stuff where I think that maybe Kirsty or Hannah could do better with ROCD, Oliver could be good with POCD and stuff like that, I will ask them, and Moment and I and Rob will talk about it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.